Hello everyone. I will start recording just for future. I will share the recording with everyone so you'll have the access to the recording files too. So I think we can start because people will join us later. So welcome everyone again to our third webinar on the legal escape of the Argentina. My name is Tamara Bramize. I'm head of the legal department at GC Consulting, and our guest today is Ms. Silvina Sanchez, based in Buenos Aires. She'll explain you all details regarding latest challenges and situation in Argentina. And if you have questions, feel free to ask after we provide some updates. So as we see, over the past year, it was quite challenging for Argentina. We saw significant changes challenging in case of Argentina, and especially surrogacy matters. We discussed on our latest webinar how the problematic it was to issue the birth certificate in summertime, but later there was small challenging situation occurred regarding trial authorization. Today we were focusing on increasingly critical issue. This is the chance surrounding trial authorization for surrogacy cases and how this situation was solved during end of the December. So our goal today is to provide clarity, discuss the particular implication of those changes, and offer guidance on how to adapt on the current situation. We will answer all your questions, so feel free to leave your comment or your question on the chat. So let's begin. Thank you again, Ms. Silvina, for joining us today. So could you start us to explaining what happened starting end of the October in Argentina? But as we know, Supreme Court decision was issued in 2024, 22 October, and what the court says. Was it like positive outcome for surrogacy in general, or it was more like confusing? It creates some vague situation for intended parents too. So thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me. And good morning to everyone. I am seeing some family faces, so I'm very happy to see you again. You're right. Things were very unstable during the middle of 2024. And when we received Supreme Court decision, we saw two important things. Until that moment, every lawyer we were working, thinking about asking judges to declare unconstitutional our civil code. And as we don't have a law that regulates surrogacy, we were having always this discussion. Is surrogacy legal? Is surrogacy allowed? Is compensation allowed? And when we received that decision from Supreme Court, we saw two things. First one, it's the first time that we see Supreme Court saying surrogacy is legal. We don't have any problem with surrogacy. For us, that was a very important thing. The second thing, they said, it doesn't matter if your surrogate is a friend or if you compensate your surrogate. Surrogacy is legal. And the third thing they said is, don't ask us, don't push limits and ask us to declare unconstitutional our civil code because it's an important law for us. And don't ask us anymore. And you can do surrogacy and you can adapt filiation using this institute that we have in civil code, that it's adoption by integration. When we received that, we saw that surrogacy was possible. We can continue working on that. And we needed to figure out with judges how we are going to solve the situation regarding paperwork. It's not a thing related of having or not a baby. This administrative issue. At this point, we don't have a lot of cases ended. We don't know. We are trying to solve this. How are we going to adapt by adoption, by integration or not? And now we are on holidays. In Argentina during January, we don't have judges working. So we are not having this news every day because during normal working days, we have news every day. During January, we don't have any news. The second thing that we saw, there were some maybe 2 or 3 months during the end of 2024 that we started to have issues with travel authorization. When we saw first case that went to migratory authority to sign a travel authorization, they had some problems. They started to ask questions. They stopped their travel permissions. That you are going to find this Italian couple that tried because they couldn't obtain the travel permission. They tried to leave the country with their surrogates. They were stopped. They were like 2 months here. They are already at home. And we trying to think how to solve. And during December, this situation became normally, and every family is leaving the country with no problem. I still think we don't need to go to a migratory authority to obtain a travel authorization. For me, it's better to obtain a private travel authorization in front of a notary. We saw they worked with no problem. All our families left Argentina during December, and the first days of January, they continue living Argentina. So at this point, the conclusion is, do we can do surrogacy in Argentina? Yes, we can. Is surrogacy legal in Argentina? Yes, it is. Is compensation allowed? Yes, it is. Do we need to adapt a birth certificate after the baby is born? Yes, that's correct. Do we do that? We can see case by case. Today, in January 2025, I can't give a final answer. Some cases, maybe we can work here. Some cases, maybe we can work at home to adapt birth certificate. But be sure you are not going to be stuck here. You are not going to have any criminal charge. Nobody is charged. For me, it's important to say during the second part of 2024, there were lots of information, false information in social media saying, don't go to Argentina, don't go and receive your babies there because you are going to end in jail. No, nobody is in jail. Nobody went to jail. Nobody was charged. The only cases we saw some parents that needed to stay here for a couple of months until they could left Argentina, and they are already at home. Everybody's at home now, and nobody is charged.
Yeah, thank you. I have like a couple of questions to make it more clear for everyone. So, as I understand, travel authorization obtained from the immigration officer and authorization obtained from the notary office is the same. Both of them have like
Yes,
equal legal
it's
validity.
the same. Yes, it's the same. Only when you go to a private notary, nobody's going to ask any question to you. You're going to sign that because notary is a private notary, and you're going to sign and go back home with that travel authorization. And if you go to migratory authority, I think they make you more questions, and I don't know if it's comfortable for parents, the situation. So, for example, in my personal case, I use a private authorization. All my friends, they use private authorizations. So it's the same. And I prefer that because I think it's very stressful for parents to answer questions. And it depends on the person that receives you at migratory authority. It depends on the operator. And if you have a person in bad mood, he's going to ask you more questions. And if you have a good mood, he will answer less questions. If you go to a notary, nobody's going to ask you any question.
Mhm. So, as I understand, like because of the Italian couple's case, immigration officers are more like triggered, so
Yes,
they're kind of
yes,
preferred.
yes,
They
yes.
don't make any decisions. So, if I
Uh-huh.
understand what we saw during the December, the moment you go to immigration officer, they were sending the notice to the criminal court, as I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think they're just, if I'm correct, like they don't want to take like final decision. They prefer to court to issue the travel authorization, kind of grant
Yes.
the authorization to the intended parent. So,
Mm-hmm.
another question you also mentioned about compensation. Do you prefer like what is the like let's say the new practice established regarding compensation? Because I would say I will call it reimbursement. It will be better because I think it's like loss of income and to kind of ensure the surrogate mother will receive help from you. So how do you think it will be correct way to reimburse the surrogate mother because, for example, in our case, we asking intended parents to transfer the surrogate mother payment
Mm-hmm.
directly to her because with this way you have transparency and surrogate mother also will receive
Mm-hmm.
the payment
Mm-hmm.
from the
I agree. I agree. You can use Western Union. It's easy for you,
yeah,
and she receives her money personally.
yeah,
And if somebody asks you, yes, I have my tickets, I reimburse her directly. So yes, I think it's a good practice.
yeah. And also, do you notice, for example, in your personal cases, do court asks the
Yes.
parents to present these the receipt?
Yes. Not every case.
Yeah.
Some cases judges ask, some cases they ask to surrogate when they have a hearing. They ask how much money they receive, and in some cases they ask, what did you do with your money? And they are always good stories. And some cases they ask us to provide court the document where we sign compensation or reimbursement.
Mhm. I understand. So it's really good information. For example, what even for our intended parents, we saw that they left the country without any issue with the travel
Yes,
authorization. They
yes,
did not had any trouble with the airport. They did not stop anywhere
no,
there. Only a couple of
no.
minutes to just check the birth certificate. So it's really good. So I'm
Mm-hmm,
really hoping for future, after the February, we will have more information from the court how the process goes. I'm really hoping for positive outcomes because
mm-hmm,
I think like everything going to be more stable because what we noticed in the summer when there was issue regarding birth certificate, the moment the government saw they like practice, they established a practice regarding like issue the birth certificate under surrogate mother's name and intended parent's name, it stopped. So there was no more challenging regarding this matter.
mm-hmm,
Now
mm-hmm.
travel authorization was solved. So I'm hoping from the February there will be only positive outcome. So because court will be,
Yes.
do you notice, for example, in your practice in cases, is court more positive about this surrogacy situation, especially after Supreme
Um,
decision? Are they more
I,
clear?
I see two different aspects. In criminal area, what I saw is first case, Italian couple. The judge, it was a new situation. They had all eyes on that case. The second one they received, it was okay, what's happening here? The third one, what's happening here? Here, when they received case number 20, they said, okay, stop sending us this because there's no trafficking here. There are only parents during surrogacy. So I think that was the breaking point in November, December,
Yeah.
where migration authorities started to understand that they don't have criminal cases here. They
Mhm.
have surrogacy processes. So I think that's an issue. The other one is civil court. At first, when we went to civil judge, first thing they decided is okay, the baby is not leaving the country until I decide he's ready to leave the country. All cases started to decide there. When they had first hearing, second hearing, they understand they were families, they were parents doing surrogacy, they were normal people, the babies were wonderful, babies very take care, these parents were taking care. They saw they needed, they don't need to stop babies leaving the country. So they, on December, they started to say, okay, you're ready to leave. All our parents that were with this situation, that they were not sure if they were ready to leave or not, they left the country. So until February, I will not see the big picture.
Mhm.
I will not see if they decided to move on with adoption or not. In some cases, they said, okay, just ask and we are going to study the case. Other ones, they I was my most important thing was to allow the babies to leave the country. So I only obtained that, and I will wait until February to continue. So we are on hold, like
Yeah, I understand.
waiting yes, waiting until February. I think judges continue working in private
Hmm.
during January. I think they share criteria, they share situations. So I think on February we are going to see more clarity here.
I
At this
understand.
point in the middle of January, I can't give you a final
I
picture.
understand totally because even for judge like court, they need some time to review the cases, especially when there's
Yes.
something unusual from their practice. Because
Mm-hmm.
especially considering last year how everything evolved, I understand they need some time to review, check the
Mm.
practice, how was it before. Maybe there's some better, let's say like legal paths that they can approach to solve this matter. So I
Say.
totally understand.
Mm. Yes,
There's
I
a
think
couple
that.
of questions in the chat. I think it will be interesting to go for them. Like first question, one of the question is that does the Argentinian government informed the home countries of the intended parents that their baby are born via surrogacy?
No.
Yes, and also
100% no.
definitely because even in Georgia, the Georgian government never tells any
That's
information
private.
to other country because
No.
it's they don't do that definitely because their
Mm.
only obligation is to issue the birth certificate and
Mm.
register the
That's
baby.
correct.
And also, if
Yes.
in case of the Argentinian birth certificate, is it kind of stated or written somehow about like, is there an
No.
indication of the surrogacy?
No.
Great. Okay, next question is like, why did notaries stop issuing private authorization, which meant
Uh-huh.
military authorization were
Okay.
needed?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Because,
last year.
okay. Yes. Because when they saw migratory authority stopped issuing travel authorizations and that migratory authorities stopped this Italian couple, they were afraid that if a couple tried to leave Argentina with a private travel authorization signed by him or her as a notary, they were going to call him to court.
Okay,
So
got it.
that's why. But December they started to sign travel authorizations. Yes, and on February they I have on December it was like, okay, how who can I call to do this travel authorization? And we have three notaries to sign, and I have 10 more during January. They called me and say, okay, since February I will restart signing
Hmm.
travel authorization. So it's normal now. I
Yeah.
think that was why they stopped until they see what happens. And when we saw first families started to live with private authorizations and nobody called the notary, they said, okay, we can restart signing.
Oh, I just have like a question, like one question, like by like legal, was there anything like ordinance or some notice from the government to stop issuing the travel authorization or nothing? It was
Uh-huh.
just their own decision.
In Argentina, it's like this. Okay, the superior says they don't write. They
Okay.
say, okay. Just in case, stop issuing travel authorization, and that's it. We don't
Mhm.
have any resolution, any direction. No, it's like a phone call saying, okay, just in case, stop issuing.
Okay.
That's all. That's all.
It's like friendly advice for them to avoid any complication. But the good
And
thing is that by law, there's nothing illegal what they are doing because
no,
this is
lot
their
of
obligation.
people, yes, lot of lawyers ask me, please, can you send me the resolution? It's
Yeah.
very difficult for
Yeah.
me to explain. In Argentina, we don't have resolutions. We have phone calls, friend calls, and what I saw is lot of parents, I don't know why, when they heard travel authorizations, immigratory authority are complicated, they started to go there
Okay.
and ask for travel authorization, and it became a chaos
Okay.
because they had like 10 parents asking for travel authorizations. In my cases, I said, please don't push the system. Just take a couple of weeks. You are going to leave Argentina with no problem, but you need to go. We need to go under radar. We can't go to travel authorization, to travel migratory in the airport and start shouting and saying, ah, it's my right to have travel authorization. Just let us work. I will find a private notary. You are going to leave Argentina in silence with no problem. And don't think they left through the airport. They didn't use another border or
Yeah.
whatever. They went to Ezeiza and they left Argentina. But you don't need to shout and to
Yeah.
be nervous. Just give me a couple of weeks and we are going to solve this. And that's what it happened.
Yeah, I understand because especially when the government becomes kind of in a panic mode because they don't know what to do. When you push them, they create a more mess. So I totally agree
Mm-hmm,
with your
mm-hmm,
approach, really.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
One more interesting question, like any unpleasant experience at the custom border control when the intended parents
Mm.
left the country
I have
with the
some parents
private
that,
like authorization, of course.
yes, no, I have one couple that they left the country in the middle of the night at 4
Yeah.
a.m. and they asked him like lot of questions. It took 10 minutes
Hmm.
to pass a migratory spot, and that was it. But I can't say it was an unpleasant situation.
Yeah, I
They
think
only asked, yes.
I
I
think same
think
happened
when,
too for others because everyone mentioned that they just wanted to check birth certificate and they just went to their supervisor to just check is it
mhm,
everything okay? And it took around 10-15 minutes for them.
mm,
I think so, yeah.
yes, but I can't say it was an unpleasant situation. They only ask questions, but when I leave the country, they ask me a lot of questions with my kids. So
Yeah, I
it's
think
not
it's
different.
normal. Yeah,
It's not different situation.
mhm. I think it's
It
normal.
was the only case, and I think this migratory operator, it it was a special one, maybe in the middle of the night. I don't know if he was tired or what, and it took 10 minutes to
Mhm.
pass a migratory spot, but it worked.
Important is good because I think it's every country has the same approach when one Italian parents living with the baby without another one. They asking question, even in Georgia, they asking a lot of question because they just want to
Yes.
make sure second Italian parents agreed on this like
Mm-hmm.
travel. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's normal, like 10-15 minutes is pretty normal time.
Yes.
One question is about like court proceeding to remove surrogate mother's name from birth certificate. And as Miss Sinova mentioned, currently this court is on hold. So after February, she will have more information, and of course, we will held another webinar when there will be like major updates. So
Yes. Mm.
yeah, there's another question regarding surrogates. It was like stated on the group. I think I maybe some other groups it does like clarify, sorry, that surrogates could not get medical insurance in Argentina. It was stated this was unrelated issues. What like it's miraculous. It's not so. I think it's the specific cases regarding like some insurance matter. So because I think in our case there was like one or two surrogate mothers whose insurance was held. So I think it's like there was some problem from the insurance companies, private insurance companies. They released the notes to surrogate mothers, just they stopped the insurance, providing insurance for them because ongoing investigation, but there was like no investigation, especially about these surrogate mothers. But there's a private company, a special insurance company, so they have their own policy and their own decision. So another question is so one question is from the intended parents. One of the intended parents is already coming to Buenos Aires to receive their babies. What is your expectation on how many weeks it will take from birth to travel authorization and living in Argentina? Like usually how long it will takes.
I would say be prepared to be here between 6 and 8 weeks, but not regarding to Argentina documentation, regarding to your embassy documentation, because we have some cases that we have all Argentinian paperwork done and they are still here waiting for their embassy.
Yeah.
And we have other parents that left Argentina. They didn't go home and they are in another country waiting for citizenship. So for Argentina, maybe in 4 5 weeks, you are
Mhm.
going to be ready to leave. It will depend on your embassy. But more or less, I would say 7 8 weeks, you will need to be here.
Mhm. Yeah, as a we saw like in her case of Argentina, especially obtaining birth certificate and ID card, it was pretty fast and especially passport
Yes,
for baby.
yes, yes. It birth certificate in 5 days,
Yeah.
5 working days, you will receive your baby's birth certificate. You can do DNA like 2 weeks and passport in 3 days. And when you have that, we sign travel authorization and you're ready. But at that moment, all of the embassies are still working
Yeah.
on baby citizenship. So that's why you are going to be here for a couple more weeks.
I understand. And can you get the travel authorization before DNI, like our passport, Argentina passport for a baby?
I will say this. Yes, you can, because on your birth certificate, you have your baby's DNA number.
Hmm.
But some notaries, they ask for physical
Okay.
DNA. So I always don't want to discuss with notaries, because if they ask that, the rules, so they say I need physical ID, and I say okay, when I receive that, I will going to go. The second thing I think is, when you have a travel authorization, in my experience, it's better that in that travel authorization, you have both numbers, ID number and passport number. They are different numbers. It's not the same number. So, because if you are using that travel authorization and you have only ID number and you are using passport, you will need to show ID and then passport, because in that travel authorization, you only have one number. So I would prefer, in my experience, just wait to receive your baby's passport, and next day you
Yeah.
go to notary to sign travel authorization, and he's going to put both numbers. But it's a nice to have. That's what I think. It's a lawyer thought.
Hmm. Yeah, I understand.
Um,
Uh, but
you can do at the end, you can do a travel authorization only with ID number. In most of the cases, some specific notaries, they ask me to show physical ID, baby's ID. If they ask that, I respect that. If not, I can change notary. That's not a problem. But I would say at that point, you are not ready to leave. You are not still ready to leave the country. So if we wait one more week, it will be the same.
I understand. I think it would be also better approach to make sure the your travel authorization includes all the information about baby, just
Yes,
safety
yes.
reasons.
Because what
Because
happens if you
yeah.
go to the airport and you forget your baby's Argentinian ID?
Mhm.
And you don't have your baby's passport number included in travel authorization, you are not going to be able to leave the country where they are asking you for travel authorization.
True. Another question is about court proceeding to remove the surrogate mother's name. So I think, as Ms. Sylvan mentioned, like these question can be discussed later after the court will come out from the like holiday.
Yes.
So we will have more clarity. There was one question in Spanish. I think I've translated it well. So the question is about the couple with Argentinian father. They're ready to transfer. Like, do they need some pre-authorization from the court, or do they need like lawyer who agrees to make a contract?
Okay, this is
Please.
regarding some fertility clinics. They ask for a pre-birth order before
Okay.
transfer. That's not possible.
Hmm.
They don't work. We tried. We have some months trying to do this, and the conclusion is not a possibility. You will not have previous embryo transfer justice authorization. Doesn't work.
Yeah, I understand. There's one question like, do intended parents, when they go to airport before they left the country, like, do they need to, if the, for example, like border ask them like, whose baby are they, how the baby was born, do they need to say like it's surrogacy process, baby was born through,
They don't need to lie.
yeah, so they
Nothing to
say,
hide.
okay.
Mm.
So another question is about like, I think it's about GC consulting. What the steps are GC consulting taking to ensure the IPs and surrogate mothers are protected through the process? So as we mentioned, who intended parents who are signed up for us, we are making sure that all the payments or the reimbursement are transferred directly to the surrogate mother to make sure that you have the communication through this way too. Beside that, you will have Zoom meetings, you will have chat via WhatsApp, so you will have constant communication with your surrogate mother, so you will create the bonds. Because as Miss Silla mentioned during the court proceeding, you need to show that you've been in touch with the surrogate mother. So with these small details, we're trying to build the build the relationship between you and a surrogate mother, because it's really important. Even before you first met the surrogate mother, after the initiated meeting with the surrogate mother, if you don't feel like you you to both sides are comfortable with each other, it will be really difficult during the process. So it's really important, even for us as an agency, to make sure that both sides understand each other, they feel comfortable around each other. So with these small, let's call it steps or small elements, we try to make sure that your bond, your relationship will be protected later when you apply to court to remove surrogate mother. I hope it will go smoothly, as we will see how it will end after February when court will be back. But for this future court proceeding, we are trying to build this connection and make sure that you will have these kind of proofs, or you will have good relationship with the surrogate mother, because it's really important to make sure the surrogate mother felt comfortable around you and she felt like she's really helping you during this process. But do you see, like, by the way, I had this question during the court proceeding. How do you see court will, what kind of questions surrogate mother might be asked, or what kind of question intended parents might be asked
Um,
about the relationship? For example, from
no,
a judge point of view. Do
they in the cases I have in court, they ask, why did you decided to go into a surrogacy process? They ask for surrogates. Did everybody explain you that what the measure of this process you were going to enter in? Did you understand that? What did you do with your conversation? Did you feel that you were taking care during this process? Did you feel comfortable during the process? Did you develop a good relationship with intended parents? Those are the questions they ask them.
Yeah, I understand. Because I think it's really, even in case of Georgia or any other destination, having the bond with the surrogate mother is really important,
It's
because
important, yes.
it
Mm.
really affects your relationship or how the process goes too. Because you need to trust her and she needs to trust
Yes,
you too.
yes. I think during this class action we have, Civil Registry didn't ask anybody about their relationship, but since June, and judges involved and authorities involved, they started to ask. So it's a different picture
Yeah.
from 2023, for example, up to now. In 2023, if you ask me, I could say, okay, if you don't want to have any relationship with your surrogates, it's okay. If you ask me that question today, I would say you need to have a good relationship with your surrogate.
Yeah. I agree too. We always have encouraged intended parents to, if they wish to have a communication with surrogate, it will be really good for a process, because they need to have trust
Yes.
to her.
It
Um,
helps. Yes.
there's the one more question regarding this, just to clarify, if they don't need the embassy and they can leave the country with the Argentinian passport for a baby, how long is to finalize the Argentina side? For example, obtain birth certificate, travel authorization, passport. So
5 weeks,
yeah.
more or less.
So thank you again. And yeah, there's like one question. Some of the intended parents will, like intended parents are being offered alternative countries. What is the
Mm.
guidance if there's to help I decide whatever to continue in Buenos Aires or go somewhere else? So I can tell you, for example, from our side, we also offered in the November, because some of the Indian parents prefer to move faster, so they prefer to take other country into consideration because of the changes in Argentina and current situation, especially where they prefer to have both intended parents on the birth certificate as soon as possible. So we offer this solution because some of the parents had alternative, they to have alternative options if they decided or they are unsure about Argentina. So I think it will be like case by case and like depends what Indian parents needs, what kind of preference they have. So because we had some Indian parents who prefer to have both of the Indian parents on the birth certificate immediately. So for example, for some couples, Georgia is option because the baby after baby is born in 10 days, you have birth certificate included both Indian parents. So because of the preferences, some Argentine parents has different prefer to approach different countries. So, but we have Italian parents who decide to stay in Argentina because they love the country, or some Italian parents who really like their surrogate mother and they already have the bond. So I would say each case is individual.
Yes, case by case, I
Yeah.
think that's it.
One more question, like, can you confirm that birth certificate can be issued in 5 days after birth? And please explain how is this done, like, to obtain birth certificate?
Okay. When you arrive here, you are going to go to notary's office and sign. You and your surrogate, you sign some specific requirement for protocolization. And after the baby is born, only intended parents, they sign a complementary notary act. When the surrogate is discharged from hospital, before leaving the hospital, you apply for birth certificate. If we don't see any observations from civil registry, normally we don't have. Sometimes they ask for some clarification or some questions they make, but normally we don't have any observation. In 5 days, you will go there again and pick up birth certificate, and at that moment you do your baby's ID. It will take 2 weeks to receive baby's ID, and when you have baby's ID at home, at that moment you can go to RENAPAR to do your baby's passport. And you are here, you don't have any more passport in 4 hours. You will need to wait 3 days to receive your passport at home. Normally, it will take 4 or 5 weeks until you do all that, because don't forget, we need to coordinate that surrogate. If she had C-section, she needs 1 more day in hospital. If she is discharged in after 5 p.m., you can't apply in civil registry because it's closed. It closed at 4 p.m. So you need to come back the next day, and we need to coordinate if surrogate is okay to move. Those are the things you need to consider when we calculate this period of time.
Mhm.
There's some questions regarding normal life, but sometimes it can happen.
Yeah,
That's it.
definitely. Because to clarify, like after the birth, you have, as Miss, you will not have. So, as Miss Silva mentioned, important is that when the baby will be discharged and when surrogate mother will be discharged, so they must be able to go to civil registry. So, the moment you
Mm.
submit your application, yes, it will take maybe about
Yes.
5 days.
Mhm.
Oh, yes. There's a couple of more questions. So there's another question like, does the parent with the genetic link to the baby need to be listed on the birth certificate? Does the genetic link parent need
No
to?
needed. No needed. You can choose if you want to put one or the other one. No relation, no genetic relation required for Argentina. That's not important, but you
Yeah.
need to take care if that is important for your embassy.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, that's really,
Okay, not for Argentina. It's important if it is required by your embassy.
yeah, because some of
For
the,
example, United States Embassy, you need to one of the intended parents listed in the birth certificate needs to have genetic connection. So that's an example. Not for Argentina, but yes, for your embassy.
yeah, that's really important to take in account just to avoid any complication later.
Uh-huh.
There's one question regarding, can you explain the difference between DNI and the Argentinian passport?
Okay. We have this normal ID
Mhm.
to everyday life here, but you can't leave the country with that ID. Only if you are traveling to Mercosur, we have this common area. It's integrated by Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, Paraguay, and Bolivia. No Chile, but it's a neighbor, so you can leave Argentina to Chile using that physical ID. If you need to travel to other country, you need passport. I don't know if I explained that
No, no.
correctly.
I think it's clear because India is like just ID card and passport is
Yes,
or passport.
for
So
travel to travel, but
yeah.
if you are using Mercosur countries, it's okay with ID.
There's one question I will read, then I will try to also answer this one. Since we will apply to our country citizenship before the birth certificate is amended in Argentina, does that mean the surrogate will be listed as a mother of the baby new citizenship documents, passport, application, and therefore we also need to then find a way to amend those documents in the future as well? I think it depends on the country and embassy you will apply. Because let's say good example will be like maybe Australia, because in TAMP, you registering surrogate mother is like surrogate mother on the application, and she will go to embassy for interview. So not so far what we see, surrogate mother is not registered as a mother of the baby so far in the embassy paperwork. You just need to indicate that she is a surrogate mother. But it also depends on the country jurisdiction, how they see the surrogate mother. Because there's some countries, for example, who concede even though you have birth certificate with both of the intended parents on it,
Yes.
they still consider surrogate mother as a mother until you will have a court ruling regarding this decision. So
Mm-hmm.
it truly depends on the country you are applying to obtain birth certificate.
For
But
example,
like,
For
yeah,
Ireland, always you need to do some process at home
yeah.
because that's why for Ireland parents it was a better change
Mhm.
not to list both parents in birth certificate. It's easier for them when they arrive home with surrogate's mother's name listed. So it's better for them to do the adequation
Yeah, I agree, definitely. So it probably depends on your, or
on your country,
yeah,
your
definitely.
home country. Hmm.
There's one question about like, is there anything to prevent surrogate mother from asking the intended parents for more reimbursement than agreed? Also, who is responsible and mediate such situation? I would say it's mediate your agency. They need to take care of this matter. And also, when surrogate mother becomes surrogate mother, and also they will sign agreement with you. So there's like some rights and obligation they will have toward you, and with the agency surrogate mothers always have agreement just for transparency so they know how much reimbursement she will receive from this process. So usually the people who are in touch with the surrogate mother are responsible on this part. Okay, one more question is yeah, I will read this through because it's a little bit big question. So we have just started our surrogacy journey and would like to know, as a gay couple, if both our names can be on the birth certificate. If not, how can we ensure that the child is legally recognized as the intended child of my husband as well? In case we have a baby on the way, does the so our agency assist us finding a place to stay during the birth and the documentation process for legal documentation. Okay, I think I understand the question. So will be problem for gay couple to be listed on the birth certificate later if the court we will have like good update
No,
from the court?
no, no, no. Argentina, it's okay if we have two fathers, two mothers, father and two mother. Only one mother, only one father. No, it's not a problem.
So regarding the finding place in Argentina when baby born, I think it depends on the contract you have signed with the agency. So how it's in the and usually, for example, with some of the Indian parents, when they are finding their own place, or sometimes we suggesting which apartment or area is good to stay. So it probably depends on the agreement you have with the agency. Uh, One more question is about what documentation must my partner and I bring with us to Argentina to complete all the Argentinian paperwork? Is there any specific document they need to prepare?
No, only passport. Your ID, it's passport here. So only passport.
Yes, that's really good question. Another one, if the surrogate mother needs to stay in hospital for longer, like after C-section, especially for recover, will our child need to stay in hospital longer too?
No, no.
Mhm.
No, the baby can be discharged and surrogate mother can stay on the opposite. The surrogate mother can be discharged and the baby, for example, is in NICU.
Yeah.
He's going to stay in hospital, but the surrogate mother, she's not going to stay any longer.
Thank you. And I think it's last question. Is the process and all the services now able to continue from the pause that was taking place from last year? As you remember, Ms. Sylvina, since November, especially our agency took around 2 months to observe the situation and make sure
Mm-hmm.
we can continue the process. And this was also a recommendation from Ms. Sylvina to make sure this first we will have all the paperwork that needs to be done first and make sure that all the Indian parents can leave the country without any issue. So we already have discussed, and there's no problem to continue the process in Argentina because, as Ms. Sylvina mentioned, there's nothing illegal to do in Argentina, and surrogacy is legal. You can obtain birth certificate, you can obtain travel authorization, and you can leave the country. The only question right now we have, and we are waiting the court to see how the court proceeding will go in Argentina.
Yes. In some cases, I would say it's case by case because in some cases it's easier and faster
Yeah.
to adapt birth certificate at home. So every country is different. We always say just have a local lawyer. We can work as a team with them because in some cases, local lawyer ask for some documentations and they are working at home and it works easier and faster. So, and here until February, we are not going to have a bigger picture.
Mhm.
We are having first cases. We only have one resolution in one case. It was an Argentinian couple, so it's different. We don't have any problem with international parents. That's important because I had some hearings and I said, is it different for you if we have intended parents from other countries? And say no, because for us, the important person is the child, not intended parents. So it's nothing to do if you're international or you are local parents, but we are going to see case by case.
Yeah. And one question is about like if there been any case where surrogate mother was already removed from the birth certificate.
Mm.
And
Only one,
yeah,
it's in process. Yes, we are trying to adapt now in civil registry, but the rest of the cases were ongoing
yeah.
and we are on hold since 30, December 30.
I hope everything will go well because
Mm-hmm.
I have high hopes for 2025 because what I
Mm-hmm.
see the government they can kind of getting used to the practice. I mean, they are not in a panic mode at all anymore, so
Mm.
they are trying to
They
adjust.
are working, yes, they are working also in Congress. So that's important. For the first time, they have these meetings. They are working on this. They are working on joining different projects.
Yes.
And the projects they are working on is a project prepare for international parents, for local parents with reimbursement. It's a very good project. So maybe during this year we have some news from that. I hope so. But in the meanwhile, I will say today continues to be a safe place to do surrogacy. Surrogacy is legal and nobody is charged. Please, that is important.
I think it's really good point to us underline because every Indian parents we have talked there had this kind of fear because you'll be charged. But I think when I also discussed this matter with criminal lawyers, all of them said like the court doesn't sees either intended parents or surrogate mother as a like someone who committed a crime. So
Yes.
they just want to make sure that the process went well. So surrogate mother was treated well, and nobody kind of
Mm-hmm.
forced her or
Mm.
nobody under reimbursed her. So she received fair like reimbursement for her help to intended parents. So this is the only thing they want to just confirm to make sure,
Yes, tradition. Yes.
yeah,
Mm.
process went well. So even
Mm.
for intended parent in case I know for Italian couples case I talked to the lawyer they had to
Mm-hmm.
also another lawyer one of the intended parents had and both of them said the same thing that for court it's important to make sure that these two was communicated well
Mm-hmm.
are
Mm-hmm.
treating each other well and surrogate mother receive all the medical service she will need, especially after birth giving. So this is really important for court to
Mm-hmm.
just make sure that was done properly. One question is about if theoretically intended parents prefers to stay in Argentina and to wait to surrogate mother's name to be removed from the birth certificate. Is it
Mm.
possible to apply for court, for example, after baby is born right away?
Mm. No, it will take like 1 year.
Okay, so it might, if they are okay with stay 1 year there, is it okay in general?
Yes, it's okay in general. It's 1 year.
Okay. Another question is, if someone signs an agreement with the agents today, what is the time frame ahead? When is expected to proceed to start if their waiting list up? So I think this question is individual for the cases because right now I think it's more important to discuss the legal aspect of the processes. So I think they expect if there's waiting list for surrogate mother, I think it depends with the agency too, and also when this document was signed, contract was signed too. So far, I can say from the GC Consulting's point of view, we are proceeding all the embryo transfer, and we will have matching with this new surrogate mother soon too, because most of the surrogate mother are going their psychological evaluation, the latest information I have. So after they will be confirmed, they will move ahead to the next step. So I think it depends on case by case when this agreement was signed and everything. One more question. Can you confirm that what is still closed and when we have renewed their service? Um,
No, it's closed because on January, a court doesn't work.
yeah.
It's January and 2 weeks on July.
Hmm.
It's 45 days each year that court is on holidays. This
Yeah.
is Argentina. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. Every
You
country has
can't,
the
I can't
same.
believe that. 'Cause for 45 days a year, judges don't work.
I think even in Georgia we don't have it's legal, but like I can tell you exactly at least 2 months in Georgia, the court will tell you, oh, we are on holiday. Even by law, they don't really have it.
January is like religious.
I
They
know.
never worked. It's not something new. It's religious.
I
Nobody
can
works on
understand
January.
because it's like new after New Year's time, so it's the whole
Mm-hmm.
to them.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, after we are hoping from February we will have more information because court
Yes.
will start to they will continue proceedings, so we can see how
Mm.
court will approach the each matter and each case.
Yes. I think on February we are going to see things more clear.
Yeah. And one more question is like we need court for birth certificate. As Miss Levina mentioned,
Mm.
we need
Mm.
court to remove surrogate mother or can
From
include
Berlin.
second intended parents on the birth certificate, but you will obtain birth certificate after you submit your application on civil registry. Of course, after baby is born. Um, I think we cover most of the things and we answer all the questions. So I'm really hoping after January we'll have more
Me
positive
too.
information
Yes.
because
Me too.
me too, because 2024 was a little bit challenging for
Was very stressful. It was a very stressful year. Yes.
everyone.
I hope we are going to work more smoothly. And I will say this, please come here to receive your babies. Don't be afraid. Nobody's in jail, nobody's charged. You are going to be able to leave the country with your baby and go back home. And then we are going to continue working with you to adapt birth certificate or modify or adopt or whatever we need to do afterwards. But don't be afraid and be confident. You need to trust your agency. They are going to take care of you. And we are working here normally. We are very happy. We are restarting our process.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree because I don't know why. Maybe it's the gossip. I hope it's not true. I read some information on the different like social media that there was some Italian bears who didn't come to Argentina to receive them.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And
There
not gonna
are
lie, I
three
never had
cases.
this in my own experience, and I was a little bit shocked. So I don't know if
Mm,
here or not, there's nothing legal to do that. Maximum, like the only trouble that you might have that's to deal with the. So far, right now, it's
mm,
a problem that's deal with the authority to make sure you will have paperwork done on time. So because I mentioned that court just want to make sure that surrogate mother was treated well.
mm-hmm,
Because right now
mm-hmm.
she's the one who is giving birth. who is carrying the child. So she needs to be treated well and she needs to receive proper medical care. So there's nothing illegal or human trafficking, I would say, that in case of the surrogacy, because by law, it's not criminal activity. And if it's something not listed as a crime in the criminal code, it's not considered crime. So
Mm.
I hope we will not.
For me, it's important to say that the main criminal investigation is investigating 39 specific cases.
Yeah.
They have,
Hmm.
in, in those cases, they have international lawyers, international operators. And that was the criminal case that started all this crisis here. But at the end of the year, the criminal judge in charge of that investigation finished the year saying, I am not investigating all surrogacy cases. So that's why migratory authorities stopped sending to criminal court each case that wanted to leave the country. But that happened when they received 50 cases and they start saying, I have only 39 or 49 specific cases under investigation. We know who we are investigating.
Yeah.
And when they went to every clinic and every lawyer's office and every notary's office, they have those names in that criminal orders. So was a big mess, a big confusion, and it took some months to clarify who they were investigating, which cases they were investigating.
Yeah.
Okay. The rest of the cases, we have no problem if we follow the good protocols, right?
Yeah. Because even our clinic have partnership with, they also visited by the like police office.
Yes.
They
Mm-hmm.
just requesting, I think it was like in total 8 cases they requesting from different,
Yes.
and most of them was from back to 2021, as that were like,
They were old cases.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and most of them was already closed. For everyone, it was really shocking because these cases was already finished. Babies are
Mm-hmm.
back home with
Mm-hmm.
all the paperwork done. So nobody knows why
Mm.
they were investigating this specific case.
I don't know, but I went and I have a small meeting with them, and they said we started with more cases, and we understood some cases we didn't need to investigate them.
Yeah.
When we saw documents and a civil registry file, we understood they were well done and they followed all the protocols. So there are some cases that we had on our table, and we say, okay, we can put this away because it's not a crime scene or a crime investigation. So they closed, and they have 39 cases or 49 or whatever, it's a closed number.
Mhm. Yeah, I understand. There's only two. I think it's more like requests to have individual, I mean, more like meetings, for example, for cases from Australia or cases from UK. This
Uh-huh.
will be my recommendation to have individual meetings with your agency and your lawyers, so it will be much easier because you will might have some more specific personal questions you might have regarding your specific case. So I do recommend if you want to consider this paperwork, it's better to find a lawyer from UK or from Australia, or you will have like separate meeting with your agency and your lawyer later on. Because group meeting is always more general. Like today's meeting, it's about like just having legal situation to see how it's involved in the Argentina. So I think we cover most of the things. Is there any question? I have one question. Yeah. Regarding double donation, is it okay to continue double donation cases in Argentina right now?
Yes, but for Argentina, it's okay. Just take care of your own country. Okay.
Yeah, I understand. So basically for Argentina side, it will be no problem. But when
Mm.
they apply for their country, they need to make sure that double donation is accepted by them. So I understand.
Mhm. I see a question regarding when surrogate's name is listed in birth certificate, do she still have parental rights in our country? Okay, before you leave Argentina, we are going to sign this parental agreement in front of a family mediator where she gives full custody, where she gives full decisions regarding baby's life. And you will have that at home just to be sure that you are the one can make those decisions. And she's not going to ask you for custody or rights or parental rights or nothing to do with that.
Yes. And I have one question. For example, technically, from legal point of view, as one of the parents also mentioned, they have these similar questions. Because surrogate mother will be written on the birth certificate, she has parental right by law. Will will be there any additional documentation issued, for example, by the government, or it can be done that surrogate mother giving her parental rights to the second parent who is listed on the birth certificate?
No, not to the second parent,
Yeah.
not listed, not to the
No, no.
parent not listed,
Who is
to
listed?
the that to the parent who is listed.
Mhm. Yeah. So, as I remember, for some of the Argentina parents, they issued the some documents. They also can ask the notary to issue the kind of power of attorney
Yes,
type of
yes.
document. The surrogate mother giving
Um,
the rights to
no,
make decision.
no, it doesn't work by a power of attorney. It works by family mediator, not power of attorney. It's But in some cases, that's why I say it's important to have a local lawyer. We received some parental agreements from a lawyer at home,
Mhm.
written according to local country regulations. So I can help you here, but if you have a lawyer at home that prefers another document, please bring that
Mhm.
document or put us in contact with your
Yeah.
local lawyer, because in some cases we received those documents and it was easier for us because we are sure that you're going to be covered at home. That's what is important, because you are not going to return to live here.
Yeah, I understand.
So we are going to do that in each case. We celebrate this hearing in front of this family mediator from Ministry of Justice. She has this legal license, and she signs this agreement with you. And it's
Yes.
important to have. But if you have a local lawyer that asks us for a different document, for us, it works perfect.
I understand. Yeah, because as I remember, some of the Australian couple was their Australian lawyer were asking to
Yes,
the mother to sign parental order
yes, yes,
because they will need this later for their local court proceeding. Because some of the intended
yes.
parents decided to approach the court in Australia to kind of have a like adoption process for second intended parents. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so as
It
I
was a
remember,
very
their
good document
lawyer,
in that case. Yes.
some of the intended parents only ask their surrogate mother to sign this. As I remember, it's called
Mm-hmm.
parental
Yes.
order.
Here we call it parental agreement,
Yeah.
and it's the same. But if you need to adapt that to your local legislation, because sometimes documents from Argentina, they are not okay at home. So for us, it's better for you to be sure and consult a local lawyer before your baby is born.
Yeah, I agree. I'd always recommend the parents to have the lawyer
Yes.
who based in their home country just to make sure that the paperwork they will need after
Mm-hmm.
baby is born
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
all collected
Mm-hmm.
while they are in Argentina to avoid any
Mm-hmm.
future complication. I think we covered most of the topics. If you have any questions, please ask. And thank you, Miss Lina, again
Thank you
for
very
your
much.
time. And I'm hoping 2025 will be more positive for Argentina.
Yes, me too. I'm so happy.
Yeah,
I'm
because
so happy.
especially it was more like Christmas miracle during the of the
Mhm.
December where
Yes,
travel authorization was granted without any problem and Italian parents left the country. It was
yes,
really beautiful.
yes. Thank you very much. All of you a nice day.
Thank you,
I
everyone,
expect to
for
see in the
joining
near
us.
future.
And
Thank
wish
you.
good luck in 2025. And I hope we will have more positive outcomes. So have a
Yes.
nice day and evening for
Bye bye.
bye.
Bye bye.